Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk through my entire blindness journey from diagnosis to when I lost my sight and then finally when I changed my eye color through artificial eyes. But before we hop into that, my name is Heidi. I'm the mom of 4 fluffy ginger cats. I'm sure you will see them on this channel. I'm also the mom of a black Labrador called Upton. He's also my guide dog. And I'm a psychology professor and I am completely blind. So I just quickly want to go through and talk to you honestly about what my goals are for this channel. My goal is not to show how to overcome a disability, not at all. For me, the aim is really to show disabled people's lives and my life as normal, everyday, and complete, a complete life. I want to show that disabled people can have full lives, not because we are inspirational, but because we are just regular people that navigate the world a bit differently. So whether I cook, whether I grade papers, whether I travel, whether I bungee jump, which yes, I will all show on this channel, it is just to show you a life that happens to include blindness. So whether you are disabled yourself, whether you are a parent of a disabled person, or whether you are just interested in different perspectives, I really hope that this channel will give you a genuine window on how life continue, adapt, and flourish with a disability, not despite disability. I'm not doing things despite the fact that I'm blind. I'm just living my life with a disability, and it might look differently like how you do things, whether you are blind or not. Right. So with that out of the way, I even had that written down here on my notes, but luckily I didn't have to look at that. I think I hit all the points there. So let me talk about my blindness journey. So 40 years ago, I was born and I was seemingly a very healthy baby. I was the firstborn to my parents, so they were quite new to the baby thing and they were quite excited apparently. But then around 3 months, my dad said to the doctor, but something doesn't look right in my daughter's eye. She doesn't look straight. And the doctor said, no, man, it's just a muscle that's not developed yet. It comes with time. And if you are a parent, you will know that sometimes your child, the baby's eyes, don't develop so quickly, or it takes a bit of time. Turns out it wasn't just normal development at all. It turns out I had cancer in my eyes. I had 3 small tumors in the left eye and 1 large tumor in the right eye. In fact, the right eye was almost just a tumor. So they could save my left eye. I had radiation therapy, but they removed my right eye. And I mean, at that time, just imagine being a parent and hearing that your child's eye will need to be removed. My mom and dad were so distraught. And my mom, she said to me that actually she thought my daughter will be now with a hole in her head. That was until she saw the prosthesis, and then she said it looked so normally that it really was not I want to say it wasn't the issue, but it put her mind to ease that at least, I will have an eye. I had about 10 to 15% vision left in my left eye. So not enough to read normally, but enough to see colors, which I'm so happy about because, guys, I love clothes. I love, love, love clothes. And I've got quite a vivid visual imagination. So I love it when I know, oh, this is a polka dot dress and it's white and red. And my favorite color is yellow. And what I also appreciate is the fact that I can remember things that what trees used to look like and birds used to look like and things like that. And my mom and my sisters and my dad, they will always be young in my mind because I remember them, as they were when I was young. So at the age of 5, I went to the school for the blind where I learned Braille. And my friends were all blind or partially sighted. And so I was in the school for the blind, and I was quite an energetic girl. My dad, he said to me, of all his children, I was the most energetic. And if I was on the swing and he used to push me on the swing, I would say, higher, higher, higher. It was never high enough for me. It was never wild enough for me. I could always do a bit more, And then at the age of 9 or 10, I remember me and my mom, we were in this supermarket, and the supermarket, I don't know if it's still the case, but it used to have these white and blue stripes on the floor. And I looked down and I thought, but the floor looks so dirty. It looks like this pinkish, dusty, it just looked dirty. So I said to my mom, wow, the floor really looked dirty. And she said to me, no, it's not dirty. So I was like, oh my goodness, something is probably not right, but let me not say anything. It almost seemed blurry, almost like when you have eye drops in your eye, right? That dilates your pupils, those sort of eye drops. So we went home, and all of a sudden we were sitting around the dining table. Things just went dark. At least it was like a bat that was moving in front of my face, like a black bat. And so I could see there was light through the sides of this moving bat, but I couldn't see anything. I couldn't discern anything. And I said to my mom, something is wrong. And she immediately called my school. They didn't have answers, and we just sat on the floor. I sat on the floor, she sat at the chair by the phone, and we just bursted out in tears. And it was hard back then. But when you are a child, you adapt quite quickly. So I adapted quite quickly. We went obviously to the optometrist, I think, who told me that it was like there was a bruise in my eye. It was like bleeding in my eye, and it will clear up within a month to 3 months. It never cleared up. From that day onwards, I was completely blind. It wasn't as hard as one would imagine. The only thing that I remember as being quite a loss, and me and my friend spoke about it later, were the fact that I became quite stationary, whereas I was this energetic girl who could never run enough and never, nothing could be wild enough. I became a bit more tentative. I lost a bit of my confidence. So that was a loss. And I mean, there are blind people, blind children who play quite wildly, but I think it was because I relied on my sight so much that I couldn't, I didn't feel like I could be my old, wild, adventurous self. You will see in my videos that changed, luckily. I gained my energy back 100%. So was it hard to be blind in school? No, not really, because I was already in the school for the blind. Everything was adjusted for me. If I needed Braille notes, there it was. So it wasn't really hard, to be quite honest with you. But as a friend of mine once so aptly said, each transition brings with it or confront you again with your disability. So when I went to university, then I had to learn to advocate for myself and to tell the lecturers, please remember to send me your slides so that I can send it to the Braille office who will put it into Braille for me. And I had to say, please remember that I'm writing in a different venue than the others, because I typed on a computer. So please, if you organize invigilators and send the exam paper to that different venue, so I had to start asking for things a bit more. Also, when I started working in 2015, when I started this job, it was a transition, because now I moved to a different province. I had to learn the routes to my office, just like other people will have to learn it, but I obviously have to rely on beacons, and I have to practice it a few times before I know where it is. And I will have a video once on how I do my work as a blind professor. So I was 4 years in my job, and let me just rewind a bit. So people often give me feedback on my appearance, those people that know how important it is to me. So when I tell you the next bit, don't think that anyone was ever rude. People, for me, are my mirrors in so many ways. The mirror is not going to tell me, hey, there's an oil stain on your shirt. The mirror is not going to tell me, your makeup is not right. But people are. And I remember my sister once, it was a New Year's Eve, guys. I remember it clearly. She said to me, there's a gray hair. I was like, oh my gosh, my first gray hair that I'm aware of. But do you know how much I appreciate that? It will sound to people, oh, did she say that? But it was, for me, it was like, thank goodness you told me, now I know to go and color my hair, So anyway, so from the age of 20, I got subtle messages that my eye wasn't looking too good. It was jumping, twisting a lot, and it was cloudy. And the doctor, I remember the doctor said to me around, the ocular oncologist said to me around when I was 20 or so, your eye lost a lot of volume. It's way smaller than it should be. Perhaps you should consider getting another prosthesis. And for some or other reason, guys, the eye wasn't pretty. The eye wasn't doing its job. It gave up long time ago. I couldn't let go of that eye. I held on to that eye. I don't know why. So 2019, I was 34, and all of a sudden I had this terrible pain in the eye, and I went to the doctor. I thought the cancer was perhaps back, and he said to me, no, the dead tumors in my eye has calcified so severely, and that's what's causing the pain. So that was the deal breaker for me. The eye wasn't pretty, the eye wasn't doing its job, and now it hurts. So I said, okay, now it has to go. Then I made the decision, okay, I'm going to have my eye removed. To tell you today that was easy would be a big fat lie. It wasn't easy at all. For the mere fact that I always wanted to hide the fact that I had an artificial eye. I was so incredibly ashamed of my eye. And I used to hear about these people with prosthetic legs that have pink legs and turquoise legs. And I was admiring them, and I thought, how do they have the confidence to show this is not really part of me? This is an artificial limb that I have. I couldn't understand it. So very few people knew, apart from my family and very close friends, that I had an artificial eye. But now I thought, if I'm gonna go for surgery and I remove the eye, at least I want the eye color I want. So then people will know. So I will have to tell people. And that is what made that process hard. Not the surgery, not deciding, okay, I'm going to get another artificial eye. Not at all. It was the extreme shame that came with it. So my eye was removed. It was incredibly painful. It's not a walk in the park, that surgery, I can tell you that. And I remember the ocular oncologist said to me, "You will stay 1 day in hospital." And I thought, well, that just captures the magnitude of the situation. I'm losing my eye here, but I'm staying 1 day in hospital. Turns out I stayed 2 days. He implanted balls in my eye sockets so that it gives the eyes a bit more motility. Is that the word? It's more movable. So I don't know if you can see, but I can look up, I think. But the thing is, I can't necessarily look left or right. My eye will move that way, but I can't focus. I can't think, okay, I'm going to look left now, I'm going to look right now. So for 6 weeks, I had to, sorry guys, I've got sinusitis. It is winter time in South Africa, so it's not a good, particularly nice time for me, allergy-wise. So, where was I? So, I had to walk for 6 weeks without eyes, with dark sunglasses, right? And I've put off going to work because that is especially when no one knew that I had artificial eyes. But of course, I couldn't stay away for 6 weeks. I was booked off for 2 weeks, so I had to go back to work. And even though I had the glasses on, I was aware that I didn't have eyes. And the others were aware that I didn't have eyes. And I felt like a monster. I felt hideous. So, yeah, I'm even finding that I'm losing my thoughts here as I talk about that time. I didn't think for 1 minute that people would be rude, but I thought that they would treat me differently. And if I tell you they didn't, I'm not lying. I went almost at home, work the one day, and the one colleague just came, "Hi, colleague, come and drink coffee." And it was just business as usual. "How was the surgery? How are you feeling now?" And apart from that, guys, when I eventually got the eyes, and I want to come back to that part, the eyes still shifted, the eye sockets. It takes about 6 months to a year to adjust. And someone once said to me that your eyes are not looking right anymore. So I went to grab my glasses, and I thought, oh my gosh, who saw me? So I went to grab the glasses, and I was there at work sitting with the glasses. And my one colleague said, "Hi, and the glasses now?" I said, "Well, my eyes don't look right." He said, "Ah, man, outside there you can wear the glasses. In here, you don't have to." I cannot begin to tell you what that meant to me, what those words meant to me. In here, you are accepted. In here, you can come with your imperfections. It was incredibly healing for me. It was like someone put a warm, healing hand on a wound. It was really, yeah, I cannot describe it. A bit about the eyes. So I decided, since I'm now already having these new eyes, I'm going to make sure it's right. So I asked, I typed in the internet, what's the most beautiful green eyes? And of course, I know it's all subjective. Of course, there's no such thing. But the internet said Amelia Clark. Or at least there was a survey or a rating, or not a survey, man. You know, these things where people just rate what celebrity has the most beautiful eyes. And they said Amelia Clark. And I don't know, afterwards I heard now that she changed her eye color quite a lot. I think through contact lenses, probably, I suppose. And also Charlize Theron. So I said to the ocularist, please, I want these eyes. And She usually used to paint the eyes with freehand, but this time she used digital print, and so it was a close to those eyes, but not a 100% replica. She also made they do the veins of the eyes with the red threading, and the eyes itself is like hard acrylic, which also deteriorates. So you have to replace it every 5 years. You have to polish it every year, and so on. So back to my journey. Oh no, wait! I first want to say, you nowadays get so fancy eyes that you get eyes that the pupils dilate of those eyes. But apparently, it makes more sense if you've got one artificial eye, because then if you've got one artificial eye, the one eye will dilate the pupil and the other one will not, and then it looks a bit strange. But for me, it's not necessary, so I don't have fancy eyes. So to go back to this journey of mine, so I was walking around with this incredible shame, this incredible feeling of vulnerability. That I can't remember how long that lasted. And like I said, that person who said to me, in here, you don't have to wear glasses. That was part of my healing. Another part was, I've got an Alexa home device. And on Spotify, you can play these playlists. And I've discovered a playlist that I really like, because it's like this instrumental music, and it's called Wake Up Gently. I don't know if it's still there, but yeah. So I used to play that to go to bed, and I probably went to bed around 10 or 11. And after 3, I woke up and this hauntingly beautiful instrumental piece was playing. And I thought, this is so beautiful. And I said, Alexa, what is this? And she said, and hold on for this, this is Green Eyes by Patricia Ann. Unfortunately, I cannot play it here because of copyright concerns, but guys, of all the songs that played that night, I woke up when that song was playing. That song with that name, Green Eyes. And it was like a message. It was like a feeling of you are seen. And sure, I even feel a bit emotional when I talk about that. But that was, for me, it felt like it couldn't have been coincidence. I've never heard that song, and that night, the only song I asked her, what is this, was that one. So also part of my healing was the next year, March. So almost a year after I got my artificial eyes, I got a tattoo. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it says Kintsugi. And it basically, Kintsugi is the Japanese art of fixing broken pottery with gold. And that's really for me, myself, at that time, to tell myself, sometimes we are most valuable where we are most broken. And we don't have to be perfect to be beautiful. And I didn't believe that. But I thought, I'm going to get it because I will get there one day. I also, during that time, I started doing all these adrenaline-seeking activities, bungee jumping, skydiving, which I will all show on this channel. And I don't know why I felt at that stage that I wanted to start doing these things, but I think it was part of my healing. It was like that inner child of me coming out and say, I'm ready to play again. I cannot tell you today, here. Oh, and I will definitely put up photos on the screen of my brown and green eyes. You will see I'm blonde. My sister said to me, since she's one of my mirrors, please never do that again. But you have to experiment and see what works. So I cannot tell you when I started celebrating my eyes, but it happened. Because if you would have told me 6 years ago that I would have made a video, put it on the internet for people to see about my artificial eyes, I would have said, you are crazy. I will never do that. I will never do that. And guess what? Here I am doing it. And I'm celebrating my eyes. They're not perfect. They can't focus. I'm probably not even looking into the camera. Perhaps my setup here is not perfect either. But I'm celebrating my eyes. I love my eyes. The other day someone said to me, your eyes still look normal. And I said, oh, it's artificial eyes. And I was like, whoa, that just came so naturally. I just said it. And so yeah, it took a while, but I can honestly say now, I feel happy about the decision that I made. I probably should have made it earlier, but I think we do things when we are ready, right? So guys, if you have any questions about my eyes, any whatsoever, whether you are a parent, whether you are just curious, whether you are disabled yourself facing this decision, please feel free to ask me in the comments. I might not know everything. I do not know everything. Let me clarify that more clearly. But I will find out if I don't know. And I will answer your questions. Thank you so much for joining me in my story. If you're still here, then I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video where I will show you the day I bungee jumped. I hope you tune in for that one. Okay, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.